We have a pandemic of men who want to be treated like princesses, and women are losing their true nature. And while there's plenty of videos on the internet on the topic on how to tap into your feminine energy, I have not found a single video on the topic on how to stop attracting these little princesses of a men into your life. But lucky for you, I've got you covered, because in this video I'm going to explain you how to stop attracting the feminine guys into your life and start attracting the more masculine and high value men into your life who will let you be a woman. So there are two things that you as a woman need to stop doing, and they kind of go hand in hand. Let's start with the first one. Let go of the savior mentality. Stop fixing men, stop saving men, and stop chasing them. Yep, it's that simple, or at least it sounds simple, but on the practice it's not necessarily so simple. So let me explain. Many girls and women in general have this thing inside of us that we want to help other people. It's normal to us because we as females, we have this act of service really deeply rooted into us. We are nurturing creatures, but in the world of feminine men, it's not really good. So if we are not aware and conscious of this trait that we have it, we might and probably will attract the feminine guys who need savior. It's like a magnet. These feminine guys get pulled to you. Like in a magnet that the plus side attracts the minus side. So you gotta stop fixing men. Stop chasing those weird guys. Let me give you an example from my own life. My previous relationship was quite something. So he was this poor little guy who had a hard life, he was suffering in life, and then I, as someone who didn't really have a strong self-esteem, of course attracted him to my life. He was mistreating me, he was not taking responsibility, and if he tried to take responsibility, he always failed at it. And since he wasn't able to keep his promises and take responsibility, I entered my masculine energy. I was bossing him around, I was taking care of everything, and as a result I turned really aggressive. But still, I was running after him, trying to fix him and save him, and I believed all of his lies on that now, this time, he will really change. And then he was blaming me for bossing him around. So he was upset with the fact that I was in my masculine energy even though he was the one who caused it. Because hear this, listen to me now really carefully. The man creates the rules for the relationship. He sets the rules, who is in which energy. No matter what you think, no matter what you want, that is how it is on an instinctive level. If a man is in his masculine energy, then you as a woman have the safe space to enter your feminine energy and be in it. Whereas if a man is in his feminine energy, then you will automatically enter your masculine energy, because there has to be those two energies in a relationship. If a man is in his feminine, then it is your job as a female to take the role of a man. One has to wear the pants in the relationship and the other has to receive and relax. And since this is not a lecture for the men on how to be a man, the best I can do to help you to enter your feminine energy is to say this one more time. Stop saving men. But there's one more thing that I already mentioned in the beginning of this video that is really crucial part in stopping to save the men, and that they go hand in hand. And that is, haha, you will love this. I'm sure you will hate me for this. Let go of hyper-independency. Yep, I know, we are raised to be this self-sufficient, independent, girl boss woman. I know, this is shocking. But the thing with this is that we need people in our life. We are social creatures. And with this being said, we also need love and friendships into our life. Experiencing love is a very nice experience for a human being, and humans should experience love. And not only that love is a great experience, humans will always and forever seek for love. And I don't care if you say that you're done with men, you're sick of love, and you're independent boss babe. I don't care about that, because you will either way seek for love. So with this being said, if your mindset is that you don't need a man, then the man will need you. You see, since we are social creatures, we sense each other. If you're hyper independent and you don't need a man, then you will attract the guys who need saving, who are not independent, who are like little princesses. Whereas if you're in your feminine energy, which is the opposite of hyper independence, you will attract the guys who match your energy, meaning you will attract the one who are in their masculine energy. So you really need to let go of the hyper-independence and let yourself relax. And since the internet is full of these videos on how to enter your feminine energy, I'm sure you're already masters in it, so I'm not going to cover that in this video. But just know that men, the real men, the men who are in their right energy, want to serve a woman. They want to give a woman good life all they do is for their woman. There's literally no purpose in man's life without a woman. But if you as a woman are hyper independent, then what is there for a man to give you? Hyper independence is masculine energy, and masculine energy attracts feminine energy. And by no means I'm saying that you should not have goals, you should not be ambitious and driven and just stand in the kitchen all day long. No. Of course you can have goals. I have big goals as well. But all I'm saying that with the right man by your side, you're actually able to pursue your dreams and your goals in a feminine way, in a way that will not stress the F out of you. Many women nowadays pursue careers based on money, which will not really be the worry of a woman. I mean, I understand that you as a woman want to make your money, and perhaps you want to make big money, that's okay. But what I mean is that there's very often the need, the financial need, the stress behind it. And the fact is that most of the women actually want to pursue creative careers. But if you as a woman are in your masculine energy, you are most likely not going to listen to your intuition and your needs and your wants, but you are most likely going to pursue a career where your career choice was based on the finances, on the how much money can you make. But very often behind this is also certain fear. This hyper independency actually comes from the place of fear. You're afraid to let go of this control. As I said, you can have goals, you can pursue big things, you can dream big and achieve all of those things. But I just feel that you as a woman are able to actually pursue your wildest dreams and goals and what you actually want from life and what actually will make you fulfilled and happy. You're able to do that only when you let go of the hyper control, because only then your thinking will switch from the money, money, money to the personal fulfillment. And I understand that letting go of the hyper control is hard and it's scary. I understand that because I've been there. But letting go of the hyper control is the first step to entering our feminine energy. And this hyper independency is not only harmful for the woman and how women feel and women's health and literally for everything, it's also not good for the men, because this is exactly what makes men enter their feminine energy. Because if women are collectively in their masculinity, what is there other for a man to do than turn lazy? If he doesn't need to do anything, he doesn't need to do anything already from a societal level, because already whole society is nowadays pampering men. We cannot only blame the men on how not men they are nowadays, because this era of princess men is already created by society constantly pampering them. Real masculinity is also very caring and nurturing. It's protective, and the best men bring out the best qualities of a woman and vice versa. So we can actually help each other to become the best versions of ourselves. Instead of competing with each other, we could actually help each other so much. And letting go of this hyper independency is hard, I know, because I've been there myself. I'm an only child, first of all, and I come from a family of entrepreneurs. So there's already, with knowing this, plenty of reasons for me to turn out hyper independent. And not only that, I grew up with a stay-at-home mom, and here comes something that I think many of you need to hear. Psychologists say that the girls who have grown up with a stay-at-home mother most likely will turn out as hyper-independent, career-oriented women. So they become the complete opposite of their mother. But what they also say is that that's not necessarily good. So what I have figured out in letting go of hyper-independence is that the first step is figuring out where does it come from. I used to be really hyper-independent. I was super career-oriented, and my thinking process was always that myself and I'm the only person who's going to give me what I want, that only I can save myself, only I can take myself to places, only I can buy myself the house. But to buy the house, you need money, and I also don't need just a small house, I want a big house, but for a big house, more money. The thinking process was all the time money, money, money. But when you are like this as a woman, can you imagine under which kind of stress you are, how much stress you have? But stress is no good for a female body. So I was in constant fear and worry of future, and I absolutely couldn't imagine to rely on a man until one beautiful day that changed my life. That beautiful day I went to a bookstore, and in that bookstore I saw a book which really catched my attention. The book was called Your Own Psychologist. Be Your Own Psychologist. There is no English translation for that, by the way, but that book really catch my attention, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy this. I bought it, and little did I know how drastically my life will change after reading that book, because this is the book where I read about hyper-independence and where it might come from. So it is in that book where I read about that girls who have been growing with a stay-at-home mom, and how that affects girls, that they most likely grow as hyper-independent and that it's not good for the woman's mental health. In that same moment, almost immediately, when I read that line, I was like, oh my god, my whole life is a lie. I immediately could let go of the hyper-independence. I literally just relaxed immediately. After a short session of deep crying, because so much pain was released. But that's how I came to the conclusion that in order to let go of the hyper-independence, you need to find the source. Where does it come from? Of course not, it's not for everyone the same source. It doesn't mean that you grew up with a mom, with a stay-at-home mom. Maybe not, you maybe have another reason for that, and that's your job to figure out where does it come from in order to let go of it. Every woman wants to be a woman, clearly, because there is already so many searches monthly on the topic on how to tap into your feminine energy only on YouTube, so there is many searches for the topic. But also at the same time, when I read a lot of comments under these videos, a lot of women also refuse to let go of the hyper-independence. Earlier in this video, I also mentioned that the man sets the rules for the relationship in terms of which energy who is going to enter. If the man is able to nurture your feminine energy, you also need to allow that to happen. So you already know my story with my previous relationship, but now I'm going to add a few things to it. So once I realized that my relationship wasn't really normal and I decided to respect myself and leave, I was completely out of whack with my hyper-independence syndrome and with a traumatic experience with a princess man. Wow, it was actually quite a condition now that I think back. Ugh. But then about 2 years later, I met my current partner. He was completely different, completely the opposite. So I was slowly entering my feminine energy more and more, but I really had hard times with this at times. But basically, he taught me to enter my feminine energy, and all I had to do is allow it, instead of trying to solve everything and take control of everything myself. And by the way, at this point, let me introduce myself. My name is Katarina, and this channel is all about how to live your best life mentally and physically. And at this point, if you've enjoyed my content, if you had some value out of this, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you feel like you're vibing with my content, please consider subscribing to my channel as well. Okay, thank you so much for doing those things. I appreciate it a lot. So okay, in the beginning of this video, I say that stop saving a man, but if you're someone who tends to save men a lot and you like that game, I know that advice is really too simple. But let me give you a few tips on how to stop doing that. I also want to apologize because I'm sick a bit. My nose is full and I'm maybe having a bit, what is that word? Harder voice? Is that the word? I don't know. If you hear something weird, that's because I have a flu. So stop saving men indeed goes a bit deeper than just stop saving them, because a lot of things go deeper, like how you feel about yourself, your self-esteem, your confidence, your self-worth, your values. All of those things affect how you are with men. Of course, low self-esteem and low self-worth will always play against you, because you will always think, no matter how awful treatment you will get, you will think that that's something you deserve this, whereas you really don't. And you also think that you will never find anything better, which is absolutely BS. That is so not true, and I know it because I've been there. Literally, this whole video is something where I've been there, I've done that, and now it's better. So I'm a living proof that things can be better. And if you think that your current relationship, that there is nothing better for you, and that's why you have hard time to leave that relationship, because you think that this is the best you will ever get, that there is nothing better there, that's your mind playing games with you. It's really so. That's not true. It's absolutely not true. Because I used to be in a relationship with a gaslighter, with a narcissist. I still thought that I will never ever find anything better, that this is the best I have. Can you imagine what an idiot I was? So I'm really telling you, it's not true. Your brain is fooling you. So if you recognize yourself from this, start working on yourself. start hiring your self-esteem, start working on your self-worth, start working on your self-respect, on your values, and all of these things. My channel is full of these videos, so luckily you don't have to search far. But once you start working on yourself, once you start hiring your self-esteem, your self-worth, and self-respect, only then you can fully and completely let go of this savior mindset. Because yes, even though I say hyper-independency is not good, but I did not say anything about independency. Hyper, yes. Independency, no. Because learning to love yourself first, learning to be alone, learning to have those like own things and having your own life, your own interests, being your own whole complete person, which I actually talk about in how to become high value woman in my video, in this 25 tips on how to become a high value woman. It's a complete guide and it's one of my most watched videos, by the way. Actually, it's the most watched video, so if you want, check it out. I will link it in the description and in the, what am I saying, I will link it up here and in the description down below. So learning those things, becoming this self-sufficient, independent woman, but not an hyper-independent woman, not a controlling woman, just a whole person, just normally, just a complete person, like healthy person with a healthy self-esteem, healthy self-respect, and healthy boundaries, and all of these things. This is what will allow you to then find a normal man with normal, healthy things in him as well. Once you love yourself, only then you can truly love someone else. Because when the love relationship with yourself is not healthy, there is no way you can have a healthy relationship with someone else. Because if you're, for example, not able to be alone as a person, then you will always search for a relationship to fill in that gap, that loneliness gap, you know? Then you will not necessarily settle for a man who will be there as a second person to your life, as a partner, but rather you will then always settle for men who are there for you out of a need. You know what I mean? In order to have a good man in your life, you need to learn to be alone, because the search can take quite long. So meanwhile you're searching, you really need to be able to be alone, because otherwise you're going to settle too quick and too easy.